is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. It's the hottest news in the world right now. Anthony Davis has requested a trade and he will not sign a contract extension with the New Orleans Pelicans, which is ridiculous. This is a NBA changing move for whoever can offer enough to get him. I have been very high on Anthony Davis, telling you guys that he's one of my top 3 to top 5 players because Kawhi Leonard missed a lot last year, so I didn't know how he was going to come out this season, so I put him above Kawhi. He's a two-way talent. He can protect the rim. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can post up. He got a face-up game. He got a three-point game. He's a great free throw shooter. He's a do-it-all player, and this is a franchise cornerstone. He was able to make it to the playoffs twice, losing to the Warriors both times. He was even able to carry his team out of the first round in the Western Conference just last year. So he's a guy that can help you win and dominate. He had injuries with Drew Holiday, playing with mediocre talent at best, and they were still able to compete in the West to a certain extent. At the end of the day, I think he is a guy that everybody should want, and everybody would do anything to get him. One thing I will definitely say is we thought the same thing about Kawhi Leonard. We thought he'd go to LA. We thought he'd go to the Clippers. We thought he'd go to New York. And then he ended up getting traded to Toronto. Same with Paul George. Nobody's seen Paul George getting traded to the Thunder. But you can also say the same thing about a lot of these players. The GMs are not really trading a lot of these players to the teams that they want to go. Even Jimmy Butler, remember, none of us seen Jimmy Butler getting traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves until it actually happened. We knew that he had a relationship with Tom Thibodeau, but nobody, even Wojnarowski, even broke the trade until it actually happened that Jimmy Butler got traded to the Wolves. He had listed the teams he wanted to get traded to, the teams that he wanted to go to, but the Timberwolves was not on that list, and he still got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the reason why I bring that up is because we all expect New Orleans to trade him to either the Lakers or Boston, but that's not really reality because the GM, just because AD wants to go to LA, just because he wants to go to Boston, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to trade him. And I said the same thing about Darren Williams. Darren Williams was a guy that was one of the top 10, top 12 players in the NBA. The Utah Jazz traded him to the Nets. And the funny thing about it is nobody expected him to get traded to the New Jersey Nets at that time. And he actually got traded and signed the extension just like Kawhi, just like Paul George. So it's not a guarantee just because we all believe that he's going to go to the Lakers. We all want him to go to the Celtics or the Lakers because they do have superstar players that need more accumulation of talent just to get over to the Golden State Warriors talent level with 5 all-star caliber players in the starting lineup. I told you guys that teams wasn't going to quit just because they add DeMarcus Cousins. Teams was going to continue to make moves. We've seen Philly make a move. We've seen that other teams are ready to trade for Anthony Davis. Just because they get DeMarcus, just because they got KD and Steph and Clay, that doesn't mean teams is not going to try not to beat them, not going to try and give up. But we starting to see that teams are making moves, and even if they do lose and break up a little bit this offseason because of KD and a couple other contracts can expire like DeMarcus Cousins, teams are still going for it. Like they're not scared of the Warriors, they're still going for it. So I just wanted to keep that in the back of my YouTubers' minds that AD is a huge possibility that he won't go to LA or Boston. And teams, like I said about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, teams are willing to make the trade because they're going to feel that they can bring in AD. They can feel like they can win with AD. They can persuade AD. So even if AD might not want to sign an extension with him, teams are not going to be scared to trade for him, especially if they have another star, just because they know that they have a good chance of persuading AD. Remember, they traded for DeMarcus Cousins, and nobody seen that DeMarcus Cousins would be going to the Pelicans. The Pelicans trade a young prospect and Buddy Hield and some good pieces for DeMarcus Cousins, and he ends up leaving when he becomes a free agent to Golden State. But the Pelicans still was eager to make that trade when he became available because they feel that him and AD can make a good duo. But not only that, they feel that that will be enough to keep him around playing with a guy of Anthony Davis caliber after really playing with nothing that year with the Sacramento Kings. But they still was one of the teams that we never saw making a trade for DeMarcus Cousins. And when the trade happened, everybody was shocked. And it didn't really work out the way we thought it would. But it just showed you that even a team that's a small market team like New Orleans, they still wasn't even scared to take a chance on a guy like DeMarcus Cousins. And right now, the Kings have benefited a lot from that trade. But at the same time, the Pelicans got burnt when he left for nothing. So at the end of the day, I think that that's something as a fan of the basketball, we want to see him compete for championships. We want to see AD on a championship team. He's been putting up 29 this year and 13. Those are MVP type numbers if he's winning games. But the fact that he hasn't really been able to stay healthy enough until the last couple years, and when he does, they just don't have enough talent to compete with the other teams in the West. And he's averaging down there 30. He's giving it his all on both sides of the court, and it's just not enough to really win enough games to make it to the playoffs consistently. And even if they do make it to the playoffs, they're not going to be favored in that many series to win anyway. Even if they was 8th, 7th, or a 6th seed, I still think that they most likely would go home early, even with a player like Anthony Davis. I know you guys say, what about Kevin Durant? What about LeBron? These guys will lead a team to the playoffs. Um, if there was an Anthony Davis shoes, they would make sure the team make the playoffs. And my argument is it's true. LeBron has helped the Lakers get to a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, and ever since he's been out, they haven't even been in the playoffs for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, KD led a team to 59 wins when Russell Westbrook missed a lot of the season, and he ended up becoming MVP, but he ended up not getting that far in the playoffs. Another thing you got to consider, even when LeBron had a chance to really compete for a championship, he got beat by the Boston Celtics multiple times, and he got beat by Orlando Magic before he jumped on the bandwagon of Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and they formed a big three, and then he made it to the finals when he obviously had Kyrie and Kevin Love, even though he did lose Kyrie and Kevin Love going into the finals a couple of times. He was not really able to carry the Cavaliers until last year to 50 wins, but it was in the Eastern Conference, and they didn't even have home court advantage last year. Despite all the injuries and stuff, they still won 50. But I would say they did struggle, even though he was able to power them to the finals, which was impressive. They struggled though, and didn't even have home court advantage, even though it didn't really matter at the end. So that's something to play with our brains. That it's hard for one player to make such an impact that um, it just breaks the NBA. And once AD gets traded, we can see him win multiple Defensive Player of the Years and multiple um, MVPs and possibly Finals MVPs, depending on what team he goes to, because he is that dominant on both sides of the court. And once he starts getting the wins underneath his belt, it's going to help him get a higher chance of winning MVP. Even though he is going to have to sacrifice going to a better team, he's not going to get as many touches most likely. But I can definitely see him taking a Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kevin Garnett role, being the anchor of the defense, not having to score and dominate offensively all the time, but the fact that he can literally focus more on being a great defender as a rotator, a help defender, and helping challenge shots. He can give more effort on the defensive end, which I can definitely see him being a Defensive Player of the Year winner too, which means that, if he can continue to get all NBA first team like it looks like he's going to get this year plus All-Star games, Anthony Davis can be a Hall of Famer potentially before 30. He can possibly have a resume that good that at age 31, 32, he can be a Hall of Famer by then, maybe even, like I say, age 30, because he already got a couple All-Star, All-NBA selections already, including this year so far. So um, it just show you how powerful that this is going to be. This is going to be an NBA changing trade for whatever team he goes to, because he's just that great of a player. And once he gets the right amount of talent, like we've seen against Portland, he can really dominate the game. Um, and his teammates' jobs are a lot easier because he takes a lot of pressure off them, because he gets double teams, and his ability to cover up for their mistakes as a rim protector, but also his ability to be a pick and pop guy, a roll guy. He just takes so much attention. Everybody has to prepare for AD. Everybody pays a lot of attention to AD, and it makes the role players around him better. But just imagine if he plays with other superstar players and he's taking attention away from them or making their job a lot easier. That makes them an even harder team to beat. And the fact that, like I said, he is a two-way player and he can focus more defense because he has other players that can take pressure off him, means AD can get an easy 25 and or 30 and 10 every single game playing with other stars like Kyrie, who has actually played better in the pick and roll and getting more assists and keeping his teammates more involved lately. Um, if they do end up waiting for the Boston Celtics um, in free agency in the summer, they can get a bigger package than what they can possibly get from another team. And if they do, I can definitely see AD. And if Kyrie resign, um, you know, that's going to be a tough team to beat. And if they can trade a couple pieces, even Al Horford, I think that especially if Golden State breaks up, the Celtics can be the best team in the NBA with Kyrie and AD. But we would definitely have to see what's going to happen. At the end of the day, I don't really know what teams he's going to get traded for. Like I said, don't expect him to go to the teams we think he should go to, and don't expect the Pelicans to help other teams along the way. If they're going to try to get what's best deal for them, AD might not go to LA or Boston. But they do have a lot of talent of youth and veterans. So LA and Boston do have an advantage because they have a collection of young players, picks, and veterans. So they have a high probability of actually getting AD. But there's other teams that have packages that they can really make to persuade them not to trade him to LA or Boston. But it do look like he's going to go to LA because they can make a trade from this year. And if they really want to wait for Boston offer, that's going to be months from now. And, AD trade value might go down a little bit because, they're going to be more desperate to get rid of him, even though you're still going to get a lot for him because he's AD. It definitely would be weird for them to wait out the rest of the season and trade him because he's already injured because he fractured his hand. He can get even more beat up and injured as the season continues to come. And if they lose early, not make the playoffs basically, then they can focus more on trying to get a better package for somebody else like Boston. So let me know what team you think that Anthony Davis will go for, and let me know if you guys think he's going to get traded to LA or Boston, or do you think he's going to get traded to a anonymous team? Or do you think that he's going to get traded in the summer and they're going to try anything they can to keep him for the rest of the season and try to figure it out in the off season, or do you think they're going to make a trade now to get youth and possibly some picks for this upcoming draft? And honestly, they get their own first round pick, plus they can get other first round picks out of this draft for next year's draft. That could be very powerful for them to make the trade even earlier, depending on who they like and want in this draft. They can possibly get two players, or even trade up in the draft to get the player that they really want to replace AD with a younger star this year. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be fun to see what team AD goes to and how he can very well change the balance of the NBA in the East or the West with a major trade. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and the comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Thank you for liking on Facebook for people who have done it. And if you want to like on Facebook, to give you another chance to see my videos if you're not on YouTube. Also, continue to check out my Spreadshirt. Thanks for supporting the brand. Thanks for buying the merchandise. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching. That's why I continue to go. Also, I make videos about trades, buyouts, preview seasons, NBA draft, summer league. I even do content about the trade deadline and buyout. So I cover all things NBA. I try to make a video every single day, even if it's a fun discussion just like this. Quinn Wade, basketball analysis. I'm gone. Subscribe. Check out my older videos. Check out my playlists and binge watch. I got a lot of great content, over 1,000 videos available, and I got different type of videos in general. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm guaranteeing that you will enjoy any of my content. And thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for the support. And also, I appreciate everything you guys do. And let me know what you think is going to happen with Anthony Davis at the end of this season.